Alright, YouTube, this is your boy Alex, and gonna make a public major announcement. I'm gonna be making 2 new YouTube channels because on my main channel that I put on YouTube, I'm running out of room, and I think the channel that you see right now, I'm gonna run out of room real soon. So I'm gonna create 2 new channels, and they're gonna be reserved channels with different names and different passwords. And the reason is that is because Google had called me this morning and told me that some jackass from Russia is trying to hack onto these channels because they don't like the powerful message that I made. Listen, pal, you can try to hack as many channels as you want. You're not going to succeed. You're only going to fail, and that's it. You know, so keep trying to hack stuff, and you're not gonna have any luck. You're not stopping me from making YouTube videos. You're not going to cost me no money either. So stop trying. Just give up already. Cause I can call an agency. Perhaps you've seen it on TV, the Identity Theft Agency, and with one drop they can just block you completely and you can't do shit. So stop trying to hack my account. Stop trying to surf on my channels and stop me from putting out this truth. You're not stopping me. So just give up already. Ain't no one stupid when they call you or they email you. They email you and they call you for a specific reason. You made an attempt and you failed. If you didn't succeed the first time and you got in the first time and you're trying again, you're not trying this time. So just give up. Because I am going to call the agency and you won't be able to do diddly squat. So give up already. Now on with the video presentation. Today's video is going to be Sex Game Part 1, Clothes. We got to talk about clothes because it's a revised version of the video. And the reason why I have to make the video over again is because last year when I got sabotaged by the same jackass who's jealous and insecure like a punk because they can't handle the fact that I'm popular, they're not. I'm a somebody, they're a loser. And I'll make a complete YouTube video called How You Can Tell When Some Loser Is Trying to Steal Your Identity. Because most pickup artists and dating coaches, they don't talk about that either. I'm gonna make that video pretty soon on how you can tell when somebody wants your identity, when somebody wants to become you. I'll explain what that's about. And I'll probably turn it into a 3-part series because I'm gonna have to explain the categories on how someone tries to steal your identity and try so hard. And what are the reasons and the purposes. But right now we're gonna focus on clothes because it's becoming a problem in the sex dating game. Now, the problem that I see with most men, not just me, but with most men, we try to put too much time and energy and money into trying to impress the opposite sex. We try to get women to find us physically, sexually attractive. We try to get women to like us and stop giving us such a hard time. Now, when you live in this American society, you're gonna be in a situation where women are gonna make things hard and complicated. They wouldn't be women if they didn't do it. Now, I'm not saying all women do it, but you have some women that like to do stuff just because they think it's funny and exciting. Now, here's what you have to understand. You're supposed to buy new clothes. That's without question. Now, I'm not saying every single day you need to go to H&M, Old Navy, Gap, and Target, and Macy's and JCPenney's and hit the store up. But you do have to buy new clothes, new shirts, new pants, new jeans, socks, shoes, you know, boxer briefs, underwear. You're supposed to buy them. Because after wearing clothes for about, on average, 2 to 4 years, every 2 to 4 years is when you should buy some new clothes. Because you might put them in the washer machine and they might shrink on you, and then they're not good. Then you get pants that are too small, too big, they're too tight, they don't fit. and then people be thinking something wrong because you're wearing clothes that's 5 years old, 10 years old. Now, here in the black community, most black men, it's no secret, most of us, if not all of us, do suffer from a series of insecurity issues. Now, what is an insecurity issue? An insecurity issue is when someone tries to bring to light, someone tries to bring something to your invited attention that it's a problem and it needs to be corrected and fixed. Like if you're not good socializing, most men who go to the nightclubs and the bars to chase women don't focus on their social skills, their critical thinking skills. And they overlook that because they find it boring, it takes too long, it's a lot of work, and they just want to bypass it. Now, some stuff you can bypass, and then there's some stuff, unfortunately, you cannot bypass. You know, the realization is we have an insecurity issue. Mine's is if I go too long of a period not getting no attention, and I'm talking about female attention. Perhaps you've heard the word on YouTube, they call it validation. If I go too long of a period, like I'm gonna say maybe 6 months, maybe a year, not getting no attention, then I see that as a problem, because if I'm putting in all this time and energy into getting someone to pay attention to me, then I start to worry, did I do the right thing? Did I do the wrong thing? You know, is it not working? It is working. Is the answer yes? Is the answer no? And I'm not saying that some women are guilty of this. What I'm saying is that we put too much time and energy and money into buying the clothes to make the women notice. Like leather jackets, right? There's nothing wrong with buying a leather jacket that costs $100, $200, $300. Problem is, if one woman don't find it physically, sexually attractive, then you using it is pointless. Because if the girl isn't interested in you from the jump and you buy a leather jacket, you could buy 4 leather jackets. That doesn't make her look at you. You can buy a series collection of sunglasses with the leather jacket. If she weren't looking at you to begin with in the first place, and it's 6 months later, it's a year later, or it's 2 years later, it's 3, it's 4, it's 5 years later, and she still ain't paying attention to you 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, then you wasted all your time, money, and energy for absolutely nothing. And that's what most of our problem is. Now, this can get you in trouble, and I'll explain how. It can get you in trouble if you're at work and people see that you have style, you have fashion. So they applaud you for that. Now, if it's raining and you were trying to get a raincoat and the coat you were trying to buy, you know, is sold out because it's a popular brand and all that was left was a leather jacket, then that's okay. But when you try to use the leather jacket to make women just notice you, some women, and I hate to say this, some women get intimidated when they see you come with a leather jacket. They'll assume you're a part of a motorcycle gang, and they'll think you'll try to use intimidation and fear to get what you want when you've seen it in the movies and the television shows, so that's why you want the leather jacket and the sunglasses. Now, it does make women pay attention, but not all women pay attention. Now, if you get a leather jacket and black women pay attention, that's great, that's fantastic. Now I'll tell you where the problem comes in. When you see something from a movie or a television show, and this is why I always say, stop trying stuff from movies and television shows, because it fails more than it succeeds. When you try to go after a woman that's Mexican, and you try to use that to make her find you physically, sexually attractive, and she be looking at you like, why are you trying so hard to get me to look at you twice? This will indicate to her that you have an insecurity issue. Or you go buy a $20,000 or $30,000 or $40,000 or $45,000 or $50,000 sports car. Again, you're sending a message, please look at me and pay attention. And if you have to put a lot of time and energy into a female that never found you physically sexually attractive in the first place, no matter how many pairs of sunglasses, leather jackets, and sports cars will ever make her find you physically sexually attractive. She'll just continue to reject you every single time until you realize no matter what you say and no matter what you do, she ain't interested. Now, that doesn't mean that when another guy buys a leather jacket, she don't find him physically sexually attractive. The correct way to do that is to just say, it's just a jacket. Instead of saying, yeah, I bought the best leather jacket, or I got a leather jacket like in the movies and the television shows, the best way is to just say, I just bought a jacket because I needed a jacket. It was cold, it's raining, and I see everyone else has a jacket. So logically, you would just say, I just needed a jacket. Or you say, I got sunglasses because my eyes are sensitive, and since I'm older, I need prescription glasses, but I also got prescription sunglasses. So you would have to say that so she will understand the purpose of you buying the leather jacket and the sunglasses. Now, this also hurts older guys. It hurts white guys, it hurts Latino guys, because they see the movies, they see the television shows, they see the badasses wear the leather jackets. Girls like the leather jackets. The leather jacket is a confident booster, okay? Leather jackets give you motivation and confidence for one day that you don't need the leather jacket, okay? I'm going to use professional wrestler Bret Hart as a prime example. His character in the 1990s resembled a guy that all he does is drive motorcycles, wears sunglasses, and has leather jackets. Now, it was to give him confidence to go in front of a camera in front of millions and millions and millions of people who were watching professional wrestling in the 1980s and the 1990s, and it was to give him confidence to talk in front of the camera. As time went on, Bret Hart would come from the backstage to the arena with the leather jacket, but Bret Hart would take off the leather jacket and come into the wrestling ring. Bret Hart would take off those sunglasses and put it on to a 6-year-old or 12-year-old child to instill that same confidence into that child. And Bret Hart wrestled and showed that you can be 100% confident without anything. And what Bret Hart was trying to say was, in life, you don't need the motorcycles, the leather jackets, and the sunglasses to make someone like you and respect you. The purpose of his character in wrestling was he was called the Hitman, and that he made it cool to come to a wrestling arena with the leather jacket and some sunglasses and look badass for his character. He made it cool to wear pink and black with some rock music. So that was the complexity of his wrestling character, and that he would come into the ring and display 100% confidence with no leather jacket, with no sunglasses. And some women would love for you to have confidence and not try to use materialistic items to do it. Now, the reason why you should never be trying to use new clothes that you buy from H&M, The Gap, Old Navy, you know, Forever 21. There's a lot of clothing stores to try to impress women, because you might get the attention of the wrong type of woman. The woman you get is the one that's ghetto and ratchet. You know, she'll find you physically, sexually attractive. You'll get her invited attention. Sometimes you have to be careful with clothes, because if you buy, you know, the basketball jerseys and the football jerseys, you get the attention of the police. Oh yeah. That's why you see a lot of guys now stop wearing basketball jerseys and football jerseys and those LA baseball caps, because every time they do, what happens? 99.99% of the time, you get stopped by the police. I used to wear them all the time. I used to always get caught wearing basketball jersey. If it was a LA jersey, if it was a Philadelphia 76 jersey, the police would pop out of nowhere. Ooh! and you would get stopped and you would get harassed for about 25, 35, 40 minutes because they see you wearing a basketball jersey, a football jersey. You got on a baseball jersey. They would say shit like, are you from Rolling 60s Crip? Or are you from Gangsta Crip? Or are you from One Old Gangsta Crip? Or are you from the 20s, the 30s, the 40s, the 50s? Are you from 110 Gangsta Crip Street? You know, they would just throw names at you and you'd be like, I don't gang bang. And they'd be like, well, you wearing gang banging affiliated clothes, so if you don't gang bang, why are you wearing gang banging affiliated clothes? And you'd be like, I just like basketball, I like football, I like baseball. And even though you came up with a logical answer, they would come back with 5 or 10 logical answers to still say you're still wearing gang banging affiliated clothes. That's why I stopped you. Same thing if you go to the nightclub on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday and Saturday nights, and it's in a car of 3 guys, 4, 5, 6 guys in one car. Well, not in one car, but you know what I mean. You're going to get stopped by the police. Same thing if it's 5. Same thing if it's 3 girls, 4, 5, 6, 7 girls in one car. Then a female police officer has to pull the car over because it's too many women in one car. And they naturally assume that if it's a group of black men in a car, then you must be gang affiliated. You must be going to do a drive-by. Now, some people call you buying clothes from H&M, The Gap, Old Navy, Target, Forever 21, and clothing stores like that. They naturally assume that you're selling out because you don't want to wear gang banging affiliated clothes because you're tired of being harassed by the police. So from the age of 18 to 27, all throughout your 20s, you're going to get stopped by the police. If you're in a car or in your truck and they see it's 2 guys, 3 or 4 guys in one car, you're going to get stopped 90% of the time, and they're going to look at the ages from ages 18 to 27. Now, if you're like 31, 32, 33 years old, you may get stopped on an occasion because you're wearing a basketball or football or baseball jersey, and then you got the LA, Dodgers hat on, which they basically come to the conclusion that it's gang affiliated attire because every time they go to a gang shooting or a drive-by or they do a murder investigation, what do? They get a blue hat with the LA hat on it. So this is why a lot of guys, when they leave from their job, they usually have to wear a black jacket because if they can't show off their basketball or football or baseball jerseys because they know if they're from the age of 18 to 27, you're going to get stopped by the police 90% of the time. The flashlight in your face and shit. And you can't talk back because they're looking for the opportunity for you to say something smart so they can get into that ass. I've been stopped by the police a total of 15 times, but it wasn't for sexual harassment or sexual assault. It was because I used to wear those basketball and football jerseys, and when I was getting a haircut in 2011, the barber told me you need to stop wearing that shit because every time your ass get on a bus and go to another area, they assume you're gangbanging. They assume you're getting ready to drive by and shoot up the whole entire neighborhood. And then they got to stop you for about 35, 45 minutes and check your ID to see if you ain't no criminal. And then you get mad because then it becomes racial profile, which in some form or fashion it is to a certain extent, to a certain degree. So that's how the clothes can hurt you if you keep on buying that type of stuff. Now, when guys have to go to an H&M, The Gap, Old Navy, Target, Macy's, JCPenney's, Forever 21, there is a male's version of Forever 21 that sells men's clothes. They call you a sellout because you're tired of being harassed by the police. So in one case, you buy new clothes that are not designed for black men, and they think you sell out. Then in another case, you're doing it to try to impress black women, white women, Mexican women. And there have been some times where I bought the leather jackets and some Mexican women were like, "You trying way too hard to get me to like you." I've done the experiment. Now, some women don't have a problem with you wearing leather jackets and trying to show off your clothes. Now, see, a lot of black men, when they don't have a job and this happens because I'm black, so I got experience in this. A lot of us, when we didn't have no job, a lot of us saw other people buy clothes and it wasn't made into no problem. We see white guys buy the suits and ties, and we want to buy the suits and ties. You know, because they dress proper and they get the respect when they dress professional and they dress proper. And then when you get your first job, they don't understand your financial situation. They'll go, well, that shirt's too small, or there's a stain on that tie. And you try to explain to them, I ain't had no job for 6 months or 9 months. I ain't had no job for no 2 years, no 5 years or 10 years. I ain't had no job for that long of a period. And a lot of times they don't care, because to them, you should have enough intelligence to understand that now that you have a job, you're supposed to buy the clothes that you need that are job work related appropriate. And when I first got hired as loss prevention at the Grove, which is a high class residential area, they would break their foot off into my ass a total of 8 to 9 times, probably 11 if we count from the time I first started. Broke their foot off into my foot 11 times about my clothes because they were outdated. Now in the black community, we have a nickname. We call them hand-me-downs. Hand-me-downs mean that your big brother or your cousin or your uncle have clothes that he used to wear from 5 years ago or 10 years ago, and they give them to you so you can save your money in your pocket. So you ain't got to waste, you know, $30, $40, $50, $60, $70, $100, or $200 on some clothes. And a lot of times you would feel bad because when you were in junior high, high school, or a lot of times college, people would laugh and make fun of you because you're wearing some clothes that are not in style. You're wearing some clothes that are outdated, clothes that are 5 years old, 10 years old. There are some sad stories where they give you some clothes that could be as old as 20 years ago that are not in style. And then you get laughed and made fun of because you wearing some clothes that are so old that they be cracking jokes, and then you get made fun of. And then when you finally get your first job or your second or your third job or whatever, and you start making a lot of money, that don't mean that you're rich and famous, but you have money available. Now you start going to the Gap, H&M, Target, Old Navy, JCPenney's, Macy's, Forever 21. You start hitting up all the clothing stores and you start spending $20, $30, $40, $50, $60, $70, $100, $200 on new clothes because you're tired of people laughing and making fun of you. And one of the first persons to give you constructive criticism is the opposite sex, which is going to be women. You're going to get some black women or some white women or some Latino women are going to say, can I just make a small suggestion? I'm not trying to talk trash. I just want to make a suggestion. That shirt's too big for you, or it's too small for you. I think you need to go to a clothing store and you need to get these clothes. Or one of the most famous insults that you'll hear that's universal, I think you need to go to Target. I think you need to go to Ross. I think you need to go to the Salvation Army and get you some clothes that cost $12.99, you know, $15.99 if you're too cheap to want to buy some clothes. You know, you'll hear insults like that from women, you know, and this will be some black women. You know, white women are a little bit more respectable and more classy. They'll just say, you know, I know this guy that sells clothes up the street that has them in every single size. All you gotta do is just pay $20 and you're good. You know, but black women and some Latino women will just hit you right where it hurts. And they don't care if you don't like constructive criticism. And then you buy the clothes, right? Because you think that's going to make the woman pay attention to you. And then you make the mistake of buying expensive clothes. And then she just uses you because, well, you got nice looking clothes. So she naturally assumes you must make some pretty good money. And then you get used, and then you get played, and then you don't get no phone number, and then you try to ask her out to lunch and dinner, and then you still get rejected and sent into the friend zone. So the video why I'm making about clothes is that in one respect, clothes, if you're buying new clothes to get away from the bad element of gang banging with the police, it's a good thing to buy clothes. But as soon as you try to use that to pertain to get the attention of the opposite sex, you could attract the wrong type of woman. And you see a lot of pickup artists and dating coaches, they don't want to make videos about what happens if you buy clothes and you put buying clothes to making women like you. Some women want materialistic things, and then you have some women that do not care for the leather jacket. And the leather jacket could be $200, $300, $400. She'd be like, wow. And then you waste your money buying 2 or 3 or 4 leather jackets, and she ain't paying you no attention. You get a sports car, and then she's like, wow, you got a sports car. Some women will find, so I would say on average, a good 60% of women don't care what you do, and then you got some 40% of women that actually do like you wearing leather jackets. Problem with this is it's going to be older women that's in their 40s and their 50s and their 60s. They're going to be looking at you wearing this stuff, and you're going to be like, why every time I buy new clothes and new shoes, I keep getting older women that I don't find physically sexually attractive? Well, I got a 300-pound or 400-pound or 500-pound woman checking me out when I drive a motorcycle, and I got 2 or 3 leather jackets. You know why they're checking me out. But yes, the leather jacket does get you a lot of attention. It all depends on what city and state you live in, and it all depends, are you using that to just get attention, or is that your personality? Because if it's your personality, then women are going to gravitate towards you no matter what you do. But if you're trying to use it to get attention, you can get brought into the H&R's office, and they can say, you keep trying to make her like you, but she don't like you. You know, things of that nature. And you see, what you have to understand is, that's why a lot of guys start lowering their standards. Because every time they try that with women that's high class and middle class, it doesn't work. Because the father instills values into those types of girls. I don't want you messing with no guy that plays basketball or football. I don't want you messing with a guy that has the leather jackets, the sunglasses, and the motorcycle. So there's a such thing of you doing that, and then you get put in a negative stereotype because of it. So there's different ways on how clothes can help your situation, and then there are ways on how clothes can help your situation, can backfire and blow up in your face. And I said most of us as black men, now you're seeing it starting to happen to white men, starting to happen to some Latino men. You see a lot of the Asian men start listening to rap music because they know some black woman will find it physically, sexually attractive, because they have a hard time getting attention from their own women and their own race. So a lot of the Chinese and Japanese men are frustrated at the fact that I have to be hip-hop, I have to be all hip-hop and gangster if I want a black woman. And black men see that, and black men be like, well, I'm going to start wearing some rock and roll clothes and do the rock stuff. It will get the attention of some white women and some Latino women. But then as soon as you start trying to add stuff to it, most women will say, you didn't have to buy that to impress me. So a woman can tell if you're doing it because it's your personality, or you're doing it because you saw 15, 20 guys in movies and television shows doing it, then it can work against you. Now, I'm not saying don't buy a leather jacket because I said it doesn't always work. What you're going to find out is some women like the leather jacket. Some women think you're an asshole or a jerk when you try to use the leather jacket to impress them. So a lot of guys start lowering their standards and start going to low-class women that are average or below average that will accept that you drive a motorcycle and you've got 2 or 3 or 4 leather jackets, that you drive a motorcycle, versus trying to date high-quality women who have seen it 15 times, 20, 30, 40 times. So I didn't want to make this video too long or too short. Until next time, peace.